All right, let's go to the big screen. First up, let's review G.I. Joe Retaliation. Justin, what's it about? Tell me the story.
All right, kids, let's all just sit down so I can tell you the deep tale of G.I. Joe Retaliation. Picking up a little while after the first film, G.I. Joe Retaliation tells the story of our Joes being sent off to North Korea to perform a mission to get some nukes that might be used against us. After they've accomplished that mission, they're then set upon by sinister forces. The G.I. Joes look to be done in. But wait! Not just yet. Some Joes survive and they come back to retaliate against Cobra's forces, who have, of course, in the first film, Arnold Voslow's character, Zartan, has taken the place of the president. And so now with him in the Oval Office, he's now doing the bidding of Cobra Commander. Guys, we all have seen this film. Did you guys have as good a time with this dumbass story as I did? Anybody can just jump in.
Yes, there isn't a story, first of all. If there's a story, what you told me more than what I saw in the actual movie.
Yeah, I didn't get that much out of it. I love the whole premise of we're going to take over the world by dropping metal sticks on it.
Well, now let me defend this.
You could try.
Dropping massive titanium or tungsten rods into the earth from that distance would have a somewhat similar effect. It's not, everybody wants to see a laser or they want to see a missile. The thing is that, okay, I'm really going to go overboard. The asteroids, when they come and hit, the destruction they cause isn't because they blow up. It's because they hit the earth at such a speed that all of that kinetic energy that they're carrying gets transferred into the water or the rock or whatever it is they hit, and then all that energy blossoms out, causing an explosion. Tungsten rods of that size being dropped at that speed would have a similar effect. In a lot of science fiction movies, you'll see weapons like that, sometimes called like mass drivers.
Only Justin could offer the scientific validation of G.I. Joe.
There is justification for that sort of dumb fire weapon, but continue.
In all seriousness, though, I did laugh out loud on more than one occasion in this movie. But God, if it wasn't a blast to watch.
Well, first up, the cast is a lot different. You've got Channing Tatum in kind of a reduced role. The Rock is The Rock. I mean, I actually think I like him more in supporting roles. Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody else feels that way, but whenever he's a star, I think it kind of takes away from the movie. But when he's in supporting role, I think he kicks ass. Mm-hmm. Ray Park as Snake Eyes, loved him.
He needs his own movie.
He does.
He really does.
Even though he's a glorified stuntman, Brian.
Yeah, he's fantastic martial artist. And stuntman, but I don't know about acting ability.
I don't need him to act. I don't need him to take off that helmet or say a fucking word.
So you mean
I just need about an hour and a half of him slicing fuckers in half, swinging around mountains, and just generally being a badass.
I did like Adrian Palicki. I like not in that way. I thought she was actually pretty good.
I thought she was forgettable. I thought she looked good, but I didn't think it was a great
performance. Really? I thought she was pretty good. I liked her whole story about her dad and what drove her to be who she is. And especially how it kind of ended. I liked it.
Now, what about the production? Director John Chu, he took this over.
Hey, I'm driving this fucking
You're not
boat.
driving it fast enough, Chief. You're just talking about the dynamics of rods and shit.
As far as the acting goes in this film, I know, Aaron, you already said that you don't think The Rock does a good job leading a film. He should always kind of be more of a flavoring on the side. But this is a pretty big ensemble cast between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and him and Bruce Willis and everybody else. Was there anybody in particular that you disliked that you liked quite a bit?
The RZA.
Oh, God, the fucking RZA.
I thought that was awesome.
Are you kidding me?
No, I loved it. It had that cheesy kind of blaxploitation kind of vibe to it.
No, it didn't. It had bad acting.
I thought it was great.
You were mistaken, sir.
I didn't take that vibe from it either.
Oh, loved it.
I like
the blind martial art master. Come on, that's great.
Great character, horrible actor. That was like watching a homeless man try to do Shakespeare.
He had like 5 lines.
They were all awful.
And he ruined 6 of them.
Y'all are just racist.
That's how bad he was.
Y'all are just racist.
Are you serious? You racist. Oh, he's trying to pull out the card that stumps all. Throw out the race card.
My only one that really likes, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Byung-Hun Lee, the guy that played Storm Shadow.
He overacts a little bit.
I liked. He's very cold but conflicted at the same time. I liked every time he was on screen. I really did.
I didn't think he had any face other than cold and conflicted. That was it.
He didn't need it. He didn't need a face. Did you see those freaking abs?
Here's what I'm saying. I'm not arguing that he was great for the role. I'm just saying great acting is not what I would call it. I mean, he just was the same guy. He was just the same face the whole movie.
As far, though, as the production values on this thing, this one is much less of a cartoon than the first one was, where you had all those locations and fancy vehicles and fancy weapons and invisibility. Everybody just kind of zipping around and flying, and the whole underwater battle. This one, even though it was, of course, cartoonish in its action, in its production quality, and in its visual look, it was a lot more, Call of Duty than it was a cartoon. Did you guys like this kind of pared back production style, and did you like the look of the film overall?
I think he did a much better job than Steven Sommers did, because I didn't like the first G.I. Joe at all.
Me either.
That ninja mountainside scene was one of the best action scenes in any movie I've seen in a long time.
And it was a long scene, too.
It was kick-ass.
It was really
If the whole movie would have been like that, fantastic.
I saw it IMAX 3D, and that
Same
was
here.
just
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I did too. Did you guys think the 3D was worth it?
I think if I watched it, watch it again in 2D, I don't think I would really miss a whole lot. But there was a few times where it did kind of help the perspective a little bit, I think. Especially the Firefly.
Oh, Firefly.
It was Firefly, not Zartan, but Firefly. That scene in particular kind of stood out to me, where the 3D really kind of made that look pretty cool. Especially with the Fireflies and then his bike breaking apart, and then you get the deep perspective there. So
we've had a lot of 3D as of late, where it's not like stuff coming out at you. It's more like in depth, like into the screen kind of thing. This one had seemed to have a lot more of stuff coming out at you a little bit, which I felt like I kind of missed a little bit. And it wasn't like overused or anything. It wasn't the whole movie, just like 2 or 3 times where something came out and I was like, whoa. And
it kind of reminded you that, oh yeah, that's right, I am watching 3D.
Right. I enjoyed it. Because a lot of times you watch these movies and like Brian just said, you kind of forget, the novelty wears off 10 minutes into it because, now we're just looking into a movie. But it's like a good reminder. I like that.
It's one of the hardest movies I've ever had to review, because there's just, it's very entertaining, but it's so fucking retarded.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you have to. I mean, you've got to know going into it that you've got to check your brain at the door.
That's not check your brain. It's take your brain off and kickstart it down the fucking hallway, because it's not required at all.
All right, well, let's go ahead and give our verdicts then. $1 to $10. What do you guys feel like is the price you would pay to go and see this film, Aaron?
Stupid, dumb, loud, fuck the RZA, but it's entertaining. So if $10 is the full price, I give it 6.
Okay, Brian.
Wow, that's kind of surprisingly low from you. I'm going to go with a 7.5.
Scotty.
It's got to be the dumbest movie I've seen in a long time that I had a blast watching. Just needs a better story. I give it a 5.50.
Wow.
Y'all are some haters.
I've got some issues with the story. I mean, granted, you shouldn't go looking for a good story, but the fact that there was absolutely no mention of 2 of the major characters from the first movie, one of them supposedly the best friend of Duke, not even mentioned why they're not there, and the fact that by the end of the first film, G.I. Joe looked like it had its own Navy, Air Force, and Army. Suddenly one division, one unit gets blown up, and that's the end of G.I. Joe. Kind of makes no sense either. But those things said, I thoroughly enjoyed the action, and that's what I went to see this movie for. And because of that, I'd give it, as Brian did, I'd give it a 7.5. It could have been better, but I think they're being smart. They're cutting back on the production, saving some money in the hopes of getting more money out of the theaters. And that's why we're going to be getting a third one.